weaken you dive headfirst into stress, losing your edge before the day even begins. You skip the one thing that sets your tone and tension. You miss the chance to start your morning with clarity, to take back control, sharpen your focus, and fuel your drive before the world has a chance to distract you. But that can change, because in just a few moments you'll see how a simple morning habit can elevate your focus, ignite your motivation, and completely shift the trajectory of your day before it even starts. First, wake with purpose. Each morning you return to this world gifted once again with two hands, a mind sharpened by experience, and a steady breath that's ready to serve you. That is enough. That has always been enough. These timeless, powerful tools have built empires, led revolutions, and carved new realities. But most days we forget. You rise not with resolve but with drift. As if the day belongs to someone else, you step out of bed like a sleepwalker, leaving behind a dream, unaware of the power still humming in your spine. But what if today was different? What if today you treated the sunrise not as background, but as your personal call to rise? Mornings are not routine, they are revelation. Each one is a sacred reset, not concerned with who you were yesterday, but boldly asking who you choose to become today. Every morning arrives as a quiet offer. Will you build or will you wait? The day doesn't ask you for perfection. It asks for presence, for full attention, and the honesty of effort. You're not called to be flawless. You're called to show up fully awake in the deepest sense. That awakening begins by asking better questions. Not what do I have to do today, but what am I here to contribute? Not what can I get, but what can I give? Your life is being shaped not just by the monumental decisions or rare, defining moments, but by the subtle, consistent rhythm of your intent. Every thought, every word, every movement is an instrument of creation. Whether you speak or stay silent, you're always building, either towards what you believe in or away from it. This is why the early hours matter, before the world makes demands of your energy. Before notifications flood your mind, there is a quiet space that belongs solely to you. Use it. Sit with your breath. Feel the weight and promise of your own questions. Where am I going? What am I building? Who am I becoming? These aren't questions to be rushed. They are doorways into purpose. Picture yourself at the helm of a great ship, not a passenger, but the captain. The seas may be uncertain, the wind's unpredictable, but the hand on the wheel is yours. Life does not simply happen to you. It responds to how you show up in it. But you must show up with intention. Drift is a choice, so is direction. What if, instead of rising with dread, you woke with fire? Not the long sigh of obligation, but the deep inhale of purpose. I am here to do something. When was the last time you woke up already halfway to your mission? That's not luxury, that's discipline. So let today begin, not with delay, not with hesitation, but with decision. Because greatness doesn't need fanfare, it needs consistency. You're not here to beg for time. You are here to own it, to shape the hours you're given, and in doing so, shape yourself. Begin now, command your mind before the world does. From the moment a person learns to crawl, the world begins its pull, a silent tug of war for attention, a constant grab at the reins of the mind. It begins quietly through noises, needs, glances, and voices, and over time it becomes relentless. But those who build legacies, those who create lives of purpose and clarity, do not surrender their minds at sunrise. They do not hand over the keys to their thoughts before they've even turned them on. Each morning, the mind is blank canvas and marked fertile and waiting. It will grow whatever is planted first. Some scatter seeds of chaos, fears that aren't theirs, gossip that serves nothing, headlines that don't nourish the soul. They absorb it all passively, like passengers in a carriage steered by strangers. And then they wonder why the day veers into confusion. But that carriage is yours and the reins belong in your hands. What sense does it make to begin your day shaped by someone else's doubts, distractions, or urgency? How can clarity exist when the first voice you hear isn't even your own? Take back that first sacred moment. Sit in stillness. Let your breath remind you that you're alive, that this day belongs to you. Speak into the silence, not because the world demands it, but because your direction depends on it. Declare what you know to be true about your strength, your purpose, your place. Let those words be louder than anything that follows. Imagine facing no one until you've already faced yourself. Imagine not hearing another's tone until your own voice has shaped the day. That isn't arrogance, it's authorship, because when a person owns their morning, they're not just preparing others feel it, they see it. The doors that once felt locked begin to open, not because the world suddenly became generous, but because you finally walked like someone who belongs. There's a quiet authority in those who decide early in the day and early in their thoughts. They aren't rushed, they aren't easily shaken. They don't stumble through the noise hoping for answers, they begin already knowing where they stand. So ask yourself, when you wake, who runs your thoughts? Who sets your pace? Is it you or the chaos outside your control? That single question can reframe your entire life. Because if the answer isn't you, the next move is simple. Take it back. Do not rise like someone waiting to be told who they are. Rise like someone who already knows. The world will never stop speaking, but it learns to respect a mind that isn't easily swayed. Command your morning, and you'll command far more than just the hours ahead. You will command your direction, your identity, your life. And it all begins in the quiet, with breath, with clarity, and with decision. That's where direction lives. That's where strength begins. Each morning is not a test, it's a canvas. And the first stroke is yours to make. Let the world follow your lead, not the other way around. Practice gratitude like a ritual. Every day begins with an invisible hunger or reach for more. More success, more joy. More recognition, more of something undefined. It's a silent craving that stirs before your eyes even open, pushing you to chase without pause. And while ambition is not the enemy, ambition without gratitude becomes an endless race with no finish line. Far too many lives are built on that chase, grasping for what's next, while blind to what's already held in their hands. It is a quiet tragedy to be surrounded by beauty, love, strength, and still feel empty, to hold breath and choice, movement and connection, yet ache for more without realizing what is already yours. Person who forgets to pause and notice their current fortune will spend their life running past it, and in that running, they drop what matters. This is why the morning matters, not just as a beginning, but as a checkpoint, a sacred moment, to take inventory not of possessions, but of richness. The richness of breath rising and falling without effort, of decisions you are free to make, of people who speak your name with warmth, of the strength within you to shape today differently than you did yesterday. Gratitude is not settling, it is not pretending everything is perfect. It is the foundation on which everything worthy is built. When you start your day rooted in thanks, your lens changes. You're no longer scrambling to fill a void, you're building from fullness. A soul that feels full doesn't grab at life, it gives to it. It creates, it lifts others. It contributes, and though the change may seem small at first, it rewires everything. A grateful person walks differently. They move with calm. They smile without effort. Their energy draws people in, not by force, but by quiet radiance. An opportunity tends to move toward that kind of light, not because it's loud, but because it's rare. Gratitude breeds a contentment that doesn't numb ambition, it refines it. So imagine waking tomorrow, and before you even lift your head, you whisper thanks for the blanket over you, the body that carried you through yesterday, the thoughts alive in your mind, ready to be turned into action. These small acknowledgments don't change the world around you. The traffic will still exist. The challenges will still stand, but you will be different, and that difference becomes your shield. Annoyances slide off you. Sharp words lose their sting because you are anchored. You are no longer measuring your day by what it lacks, but by what it offers. Ask yourself honestly, what beauty did you miss today simply because you forgot to notice it? How many sacred moments of clarity, connection, or peace slipped by under the disguise of ordinary? Gratitude trains your eyes to see again, to witness the miracle in the mundane. It transforms repetition into reverence. When gratitude becomes your first act, the rest of your day begins to harmonize, not because the world suddenly bends to your will, but because your will has already chosen how to move through the world. You stop chasing sparks of validation and start radiating your own light. So let your mornings begin not with longing, but with thanks. Count what you hold. Feel its weight. Let it steady you. Let it shape how you see the hours ahead. The world may remain the same, but you won't. And that, more than anything, is what changes everything. Define a single clear win for the day. Each day arrives like a wide, open field full of potential. Yet many sprint into it without direction, chasing fragments of everything and catching almost nothing. There's a hidden cost to this kind of aimless ambition, the curse of scattered effort, a dozen intentions pulling in a dozen directions. The result, exhaustion without fulfillment, movement without meaning. But clarity else entirely. A mission that singular focus doesn't restrict, it liberates. Because once you ask yourself the right question, what is one thing I can do today? Brings me closer to the life I truly want, you create a thread to follow through the chaos. One action, one decision, one real moment of progress. It may seem small at first, almost too small to matter, but that's the illusion. Power doesn't always announce itself with noise, it reveals itself in consistency. Unclear when each day, no matter how challenging or simple, is how real transformation is built. The book gets written, the challenge gets faced, the habit gets locked in. These wins, seemingly minor, begin to stack like brick sand when chosen. With intention, they form the unshakable foundation of something real. Now picture this, 90 days not filled with empty busyness, but anchored in 90 purposeful wins, not vague goals on a to-do list, but completed actions. Done with conviction, suddenly momentum isn't a wish, it's a fact. The fog of procrastination lifts, a path appears, and belief begins to grow. Yet many still rise and wander through the hours, hoping something meaningful will just happen. They drift from one distraction to the next, filling time but never inhabiting it, and then they wonder why fulfillment feels so far, why progress feels stuck, why their purpose slips like sand through their fingers. The truth is not harsh, it's clear. You cannot move forward if you don't know what forward looks like. That's why intention must start the day, before the rush, before anyone else claims your time. Pause and ask, what is the one win that would make this day feel like true progress? That is not a small question, it is the difference between a life lived on purpose and one lost in accident. Without that clarity, your day will be shaped by everything but you. The hours will bend toward noise, not meaning. You'll react instead. Create, you'll end the day tired but not fulfilled. And that, done daily, is how a life becomes a blur of unchecked boxes and unmet potential. But when you start with a defined aim, you enter the day with ownership. You stop waiting for direction because you gave it to yourself. You walk differently. You move with command. You lead your time instead of being led by it. So ask yourself, again before your minutes scatter like sand in the wine, what is your one win today? And if you can't answer that yet, then don't move. Pause until you can. Because direction must always come before momentum. One clear action is worth then it doesn't have finished intentions. Your life isn't defined by the noise you respond to, it's defined by the deliberate steps you take. Begin today with that step. Name it, claim it, let the day follow your lead. Speak aloud the person you are becoming. You were never meant to live as yesterday's version of yourself. World evolves, and so must you, yet too many people wake and walk through their day dragging the weight of an outdated identity, old doubts, stale habits, tired narratives. They step into the morning already boxed in by who they used to be, never realizing that every sunrise is not just a continuation, it's a choice, a sacred invitation to evolve, to reshape, to declare, boldly and unapologetically, who they are becoming. Every morning is a mirror, but most people glance at it not to see, but to check a reflection. They assess their face, their clothes, but not their identity. They forget that the words they say to themselves echo louder than anything the world could ever speak over them. This is where transformation begins, not in grand gestures, but in subtle, powerful declarations. There is real fire in speaking who you are becoming, not as fantasy, not as wishful thinking, but as decision to stand before the day and say, I am focused, I am disciplined, I am building a life of purpose. It's not self-deception, it is foundation laying. Every architect begins with a blueprint long before the first brick is laid. They speak the structure before the walls rise. So why would you expect your life to take shape if you remain silent about who you're becoming? Identity is not founded, it's forged, and the forge is your own voice. Each sentence you speak with intention becomes a thread in the fabric of who you are. When your words and actions align, when you stop asking who you are and start declaring it, the shift begins. Imagine beginning your day not with hesitation, but with certainty, not wandering into your hours, but stepping into them fully formed. In intent, people feel it, they respond to it. You speak with direction, you move with conviction. You treat yourself with the respect that identity demands. Because once you've decided who you are becoming, the decisions get lighter. You don't negotiate with every temptation or doubt, you filter everything through a single lens. Does this align with the version of me I am building? If yes, you act. If no, you walk away. As the power of self-declaration. it becomes your compass, your boundary, your unshakable voice. But here's the truth. It only works if belief lives behind the words. Saying them is easy. Owning them is the work. So ask yourself, what did you say to yourself this morning? Was it born from truth or from fear? Did it lift you or shrink you? Did you speak it with conviction or out of habit? Today, speak the version of you that you are committed to becoming. Say it aloud. Say it with strength. Say it not for others, but for you. Let the sound of your own certainty be the first thing you hear before the world gets its turn to define you, because whether you see it or not, you are always building. Every thought, every word, every decision is a brick. The only real question is, what are you building toward? Speak your future self into the present and then move like you mean it. Let your voice lay the foundation, then step into the day as if it's already true. Because the world doesn't just respond to what you do, it responds to who you believe you are. Start there. Speak there. Everything else will follow. 6. Move your body with intention. You are not just thought and consciousness drifting through space. You are a full engine of motion, meaning, and momentum, a living force designed not only to think and feel, but to move, to engage, to command space. Yet most mornings, people rise like machines have assembled, eyes open but body stalled. The mind may flicker to life, but the vessel remains idle. Whenever the day feels foggy or unclear, the system hasn't been activated. But movement shifts everything, not movement for appearance, punishment, or trend, but for awakening. For alignment, a stretch that lengthens not just limbs, but intention. Breath that centers the spirit, a step taken not just to reach somewhere, but to declare readiness. This is not a routine. This is a ritual, a sacred moment to enter the day not from the sidelines, but from within it. There is immense power. In the first acts of motion, they speak to every layer of your being. When you move with purpose, you send a message to your mind. We are not drifting today. We are present. We are active. We are engaged. That morning walk, the first bend of the spine, the deep inhale, they're not just actions. They are signals. They say, I am ready. I am here to meet the demands of this life. Why wait for the world to jolt you awake with stress or deadlines? When your own will can light the fire, the body, when moved by purpose, becomes more than a vessel. It becomes your anchor, your proof, your silent anthem. The moment you rise and command your physical space, the fog lifts. Distractions weaken, doubt softens. Now your action is in sync with your intent, mind and body united in forward motion. Picture this, you step out before the world stirs, shoulders back, chest open, feet moving through quiet stillness. The sun still hiding beneath the horizon, others lost in sleep. But you, already awake, already claiming the day. That kind of head start isn't about competition. It's about ownership. Not being better than others, but being fully available to yourself. And if your day asks more of you, if your dreams stretch tall and wide, if your responsibilities weigh heavy, then all the more reason to prepare the vessel. How can you carry the weight of your vision with a frame built on neglect? Strength is not vanity, it's preparation. It is respect for the life you're committed to living. So move not just to burn energy, but to build it. Not just to loosen limbs, but to awaken direction. In motion, your spirit finds rhythm. Your mind locks in, your will sharpens. Let this be your call to rise differently, not slow and reluctant, but bold and active. Show the world and more. Importantly, yourself that you are ready, not by words, but by how you move. Move your body and your soul will not linger far behind. Begin the day in motion, and the rest of it will know who is leading. 7. Feed your mind with power, not poison. You would never plant weeds in a garden you hope to see bloom. You wouldn't pour oil into the soil or scatter salt across the roots. Yet each morning, countless people feed their minds with thoughts that sabotage growth. Doubt seeps in, fear wears the mask of realism. Mediocrity whispers like an old friend urging you to stay small. This isn't always intentional, but it becomes habitual, and habit shapes identity. The mind is soil-rich, alive, ready, but like any soil, it bears whatever is planted. Fruit or weeds, it doesn't judge, it simply nurtures. So ask yourself, what are you planting at dawn? The seeds are taking root while your heart is still open and the world still quiet. But you consume, you become. The voices you allow and the stories you repeat. The words you accept as truth, they either build your foundation or shake it. This isn't a question of whether you're being influenced, it's a question of by what to build a life. Vision, a legacy. You must be deliberate with the materials. You wouldn't build a house with broken debris, so why build your future on mental garbage? Why begin your sacred morning by ingesting noise that distracts, divides, and deflates? If the first voice you hear is powerful and clear, your actions will echo that. If it's one of fear or scarcity, your steps will hesitate. Start your day by feeding your mind with strength. This is not about routine, it's about resilience. Let your input light a fire. Let the words of builders and thinkers stir something. Awaken you. Just one sentence can reshape your energy. One phrase can become your compass. One idea can redirect your momentum. You wouldn't skip breakfast before a battle. I starve your mind and expect it to lead you through one. Your brain, your soul, yourself, they crave nourishment, not calories, clarity, depth, fire. Picture this. You open a page and read a single truth that shifts your entire mindset. You hear a voice strong, grounded, certain that awakens something steady inside you. That becomes your shield when doubt creeps in. That reminder returns midday and steadies your stride. This isn't fluff, this is fuel. You're not here to drift, you're here to drive. And even the fastest engine won't move without ignition. Morning input is your ignition. What you let in sets your tone, your pace, your posture. So pause, sit with your thoughts, guard your gate. Choose what enters with care. Choose what reminds you of your power. Feed your mind like you would feed a dream, with precision, with respect. Ask yourself, what did I feed my mind this morning? Did it fuel the person I'm becoming, or did it shrink me? Every word is either a brick or a burden. Choose bricks, build. Soon your life will mirror your mornings, and in that reflection, you'll finally meet the version of yourself that's been waiting all along. 8. Review your definite chief aim. You cannot build a house without a blueprint, yet many live as if their life will assemble itself through sheer movement. They hop from task to task, demand to demand, assuming motion equals meaning. But motion without direction is the root of burnout. A day without aim is a day borrowed by others. Time loses weight when not anchored to purpose. Every morning is beginning, and every beginning holds one sacred opportunity to remember, not to guess, not to stumble, but to recall with clarity the purpose that shapes everything else. When your aim is sharp in your mind, distractions fade, noise dulls. You stop asking small questions. You stop moving sideways. You begin to move forward. Purpose is not a fantasy. It is a compass. It guides your words, your energy, your effort. To begin your day focused on that aim is not daydreaming. It is architecture. It's building with intent. And over time, those decisions stack into destiny. Why wake without remembering why you rose? Why meet the world without first facing your mission? This isn't about routine. It's about alignment, ownership, reclamation. Keep your purpose visible on a card, in a sentence whispered before your feet hit the floor. Say it aloud, not because words alone make it real, but because words make it present. And what is present shapes what comes next. Close your eyes, picture it, feel it. Let that aim stir something inside you. Let it remind you that every act of patience, courage, or focus today is in service to that aim. You are not drifting. You are building. You are not reacting. You are creating. Picture to people. One forgets their aim. They rise and react to messages, pressure, noise. They hesitate not due to lack of skill, but clarity. Doubt creeps in where certainty should live. The other person remembers. They revisit their aim. They carry it in every move they make. As weight, confidence, consistency. One builds. One wanders. That is the power of purpose. So ask yourself, do you remember what you're really building? Or has your chief aim been buried beneath busyness and distraction? The answer isn't shame. It's a signal. Return to the blueprint, to the sentence, to the vision. Let that be the first thing you face. Let purpose speak before anything else. You don't need 10 motivators. You need one reason, clear, strong, loud. When it's present, everything shifts. You rise with command. You walk with conviction. The world may stay the same, but how you meet it won't. Write it. Speak it. Keep it close. Let your definite chief aim become the anthem of your morning. From that anchor, the day bends in your favor. 9. Close with a promise to yourself. You begin each day in command. That first breath, that first thought yours. Alone. But that power slips quickly if not claimed. And by midday, many have already handed over the reins to pressure, to fear, to outside agendas. It happens subtly. You move without intention. You rise and react. You serve tasks before purpose. And suddenly, the world owns you. But before you enter that arena, you owe yourself something first, a promise, not a fleeting hope but a vow. Not whispered with doubt but spoken with fire. One line, one truth, spoken aloud, written down, carved into your chest. Today, I will act with purpose. I will not drift. I will not bow to fear. That isn't a mantra, that's a contract. And contracts forge character dotted draws a line in the sand. So when voices come, those old whispers of weakness, you don't flinch. You've already decided. The promise is made. Without it, the day is a dice roll. With it, the day is yours. Why trust the winds to carry you when your legs were built to walk? Why leave alignment to chance when one sentence can summon it? Person without a promise is a soldier without a mission. And in the chaos, they forget what they're fighting for. But you are not that person. You are not here to drift. You are here to decide. See yourself, still, grounded, awake. You speak your vow not for show, but to anchor. And from that vow, your choices carry more weight. Your path has more clarity. Your discipline sharpens. You will be tested. You will falter. But when your morning begins with a clear vow, you have a place to return to, a compass, a home. Because integrity isn't about public performance. It's about private discipline. So ask yourself, what promise does your future self need from you right now? What vow would bring you closer? Speak it, write it, engrave it, carry it. When doubt rises, return to it. When the day gets loud, return to it. When temptation creeps, return to it. This vow is your compass. It won't silence the storm, but it will lead you through it. Make this your ritual, not for hype, but for mastery. Not for ease, but for alignment. Purpose is not stumbled into, it is summoned. Each morning offers a narrow window before noise, before compromise. Use it. Plant something firm, something real. Because in a world of shifting values, a person who keeps promises to themselves walks with a peace no one can touch. Their voice carries weight. Their eyes don't wander. Their steps leave a mark. It all begins in the stillness of the morning with a single promise kept.